Welcome everyone to Life of Giants. Welcome everyone to Life of Giants. Just in case need a little deja vu to start things off.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah,
We are in a simulation.
okay.
It glitched.
Today, everyone, we are talking about the question that a lot of people are discussing, which is, are we in a simulation? And we've heard a lot of intelligent people talk about it on the internet, which is always interesting. But it goes further than that. Sorry, I just dropped something, and now I want to pick it up because I'm going to lose my mind if I don't have it in my hand. Oh, it's on my lap. I'm an idiot. Aha! See? There you go. Hilariously, I felt it ding and go to the ground, but it was on my lap, which, ta-da! We were definitely...
It must have bounced up.
Oh, 2 feet off the ground, back onto my lap? Come on. Don't be ridiculous. That makes it sound like I live on a trampoline.
Which is a lot shorter than you've been trying to convince everybody.
What's up? What's up, Serge? How you doing, brother? Hi. Have you recovered? I know you were sick. You got
Serge, you were sick?
Fucking yeah, you got COVID. Which I'm like, bro, that's gotta suck.
He's not Serge XO2 no more. He's Descend XO2.
I mean, that's the whole idea. I don't know. It's so okay. We were talking about this on the weekend, and that's what drove us to this was you being a DoorDasher. You see people's names, and you're like,
I don't like that name anymore because it's got some stank on it. All right,
DoorDasher.
Yeah. Because for one, that's not even my most income. Most of my income comes from Uber, Uber Eats specifically. I get probably if I make $100 in a day, which I make more than that, but let's just say $100, I probably make 80 on Uber specifically. Yeah. Since I am constantly delivering food from multiple different apps, Grubhub as well, Instacart, whatever.
Yeah.
Spark. I want to start calling myself the Road Runner. I'm a road runner. You know, like the old rum runners back in the day in the Caribbean. You know, or the cartoon.
I'm okay with that name. Let's not be ridiculous. But also, like, I really feel like you could be like a food and safety logistics expert for your state.
They're gonna start expecting me to do more than I do. Like they already want me to like fill the drinks. Like the dead ass, I'll get to the place and the place will be like, "Here's your cup." I don't have a food handler's license. You go fill it up. And they're like, they don't know what to say when you say some shit like that. I do have a food handler's license. I'm an ex-sous chef.
Bro,
they don't know that.
That's none of their business.
Some fucking delivery guy.
None of their business.
Don't hand me a fucking cup. Don't hand me an open cup. Don't. Yeah. That's unsanitary. I'm gonna call a fucking health inspector.
Exactly. So, Serge, skin problems are acting up. That is a winter thing, or in general, just because, you know what? I know a lot of people. I remember a guy who would get eczema on his hands during the winter so bad that if he like made a fist, like he would start to bleed. Like it was so bad. And I was like, that's gross.
Too. Like when I was a kid, my skin would peel during the wintertime real bad to the point down damn near to the bone. It hurt.
I would get a cut underneath my ear, like between my earlobe and my thing, and it would it would get nasty and stuff. But anyways, I have giant ears, so
lotion. That's what I found. Lotion, keep your skin like fresh.
Whereas I looked at my skin and said, "Stop being a bitch, toughen up, or you're gonna get peeled off." That's how it works.
I don't think that's what happened.
You don't know. You weren't there. Okay, but yeah, I feel like you should be a food and a food logistic expert, or a consumption logistics expert also may work. But you know, I feel like we could jazz it up. But yeah, Roadrunner. I feel Roadrunner is a badass name. Except it gives the illusion of speed. And I've watched you drive. You're like a grandma. It's a little.
I don't drive like a grandma. I'll get the fuck out of here. Only when it
rains. A little bit.
When it rains, yeah, because my tires are always bald. Because I swear, as much as I drive, I get tired of changing tires. I'm just like, we can put it. You start seeing the wires hanging out. I'm like, I can get another 10,000 out of them.
No, you can't.
I can. Watch me do it.
Victoria says you're supposed to switch skincare with the weather change. I mean, that sounds like a lot of work, Victoria. And you live with me.
Coming from somebody who buys their soap individually instead of a 3-in-1. I don't want to hear your shit. It's smarter to get it all at once.
Hey, if you're buying only 3-in-1, sir, let me tell you, they're 10-in-1. Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's something you can use as motor oil, okay? Trust me, my car runs on anything. The Roadrunner.
So hilariously, the popularity of a motorcycle that is still prevalent in Greece and throughout Europe is called the Honda Cub. Okay, the Honda Duck. And hilariously, the word for duck in Greek is papi. So everyone just calls it a papi because it's a duck, right? But that engine will run off of like cooking oil, alcohol. Like it doesn't matter. It just needs a combustible
Honda is good. Yeah. Hondas will run forever, dude.
I got rubber gloves on and coal tar on my hands. And you know what? Like try wearing that when you go to sleep. Like I find like I have let's put it this way. My feet are so soft that women are mostly jealous. It's if they like touch my feet, I'm like, oh no, I have very sensitive feet. They're like, why? They're like, they're so smooth. It's just, but I wear socks when I sleep. I don't anymore, but I did like my entire childhood and like
up until jerk off onto them. That's what he does.
I jerk on everything. Let's be clear. It's hard to type with them. I can imagine. Who else is touching your feet? Not anymore, Victoria. God, Jesus. You know what? She's just
okay, but you've been with this woman for 16 years. That's a fair question. What do you mean not anymore? The last person who touched your feet by that math, that wasn't not anymore. That was a whole lifetime ago. 16 years? I wasn't even in high school yet, I don't think.
We're coming up on 17.
That's what I'm saying. I'm 30 years old, dude. That's a long time ago.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like it is what's been happening a lot lately, speaking of simulation and everything, is I'll pull up shows and I feel like Netflix is instead of putting things in the watch it again category, they're just bringing it back and they'll be like, hey, maybe you'd like this. And you're like, we see that before? Victoria's like, yeah, we saw it. And I'm like, why doesn't it mark that we've seen it? And I feel like everything is like, it's also like just to gaslight you, and you're like, maybe you haven't seen this, and you're like, you'll get halfway through.
It gets you to watch it again, you know.
But like, I have a problem where I'm like, if I start a movie, I want to finish it. I never want to like if I stop a movie halfway and never go back, I hated it with like a vengeance to the point where I will tell people like, you know what I saw the other day? The worst fucking movie in the world. This movie.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I used to be that way too, where I didn't want to finish a movie, but like I just don't have like it's either A, I'm tired. Like that's a big one. I'm so tired. I can't finish this movie. I'll finish it another day. Or the big thing is my ADHD has gotten worse as I've gotten older, where I'm like, I'm looking at the movie and I'm like, this seems like it's a really good movie, but I just can't watch it. Like I just can't.
Oh, thanks, Victoria. So you know what? And now she's attacking me. That's because you're a weirdo. LOL. Of course. Okay. And Victoria's like, and immediately, I'm better than you. I start and stop shows all the time. That's because you're mean, Victoria. You're mean.
Well, that's a woman thing, though. They could just stop. They'll just like every woman's favorite thing is, oh, you want me to watch this movie with you? Hold on. After you started the movie 15 minutes in, I have a bunch of chores that need to get done. Oh, I have to go grab popcorn. I'm going to take a nap real quick.
You keep playing it. I'm just going to do this stuff right beside you. Like, no, I can't. If you do that stuff, I can't hear the movie. And they're like, no, I'll be quiet. You're like, you're churning butter. What are you talking about? It's not quiet. It's not, you know.
I got to go milk the cow in the back.
Best.
We don't have a cow.
It's 100%. Like the idea. Have you seen palm leaves frozen in place, not attached to anything? I mean, Jesus, Serge, bring us back to topic. Listen, I've seen I don't know, have you ever seen weird stuff like that? I've seen.
Is this kind of a simulation theory question?
Yeah. I have seen trees individually not moving with the wind, and that freaks me out. So like everything else is moving and one tree isn't, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That freaks me out. And birds floating.
Have you ever Have you ever gotten like gone and talked to somebody like a stranger in a situation where you weren't supposed to talk? There was no reason for you to be like go up and talk to that person. Have you ever done that? And it's almost like they didn't have their preset buttons or their preset like chat mode on, so
Yeah.
they're like lost. They don't
Yeah.
know. They're like their whole fucking like you're going out of like what the simulation was ready for, was preparing you. It's trying to railroad you. But I'm a weirdo and I'll walk up to people and start talking to them while I'm bored. You know, so
So
and then they're like confused, like they can't what like they have nothing to say whatsoever, nothing to narrate what's going on around us.
yeah,
Like
100. Okay, this is okay. So number one, or birds floating. Number one,
I think
birds
birds
aren't
floating
real. Birds are not real.
by
They are spy machines.
the
Made
government, right?
by the a government, multiple governments. No birds. They're all gone. They
All
died. They
birds?
left. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely there. Because look, there's a Reddit. I think there's an entire Reddit page about this where it's like, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? And you're like,
No.
no,
Have you
it's
ever
not.
have you ever seen your neighbors bringing the
Neighbors.
groceries in?
So okay,
I have because I live in an apartment, but
I yeah. So like
if you live in a house, you never see that shit.
I've been trying to keep an eye out for it, but like
And I'm the
no,
type of person who will like go and help them bring their groceries in too. If I
uh,
know the neighbor like that, you know what I mean? Like,
you're so I'm glad we met online instead of face to face first. Let's just say that. Because the idea of walking up to somebody, so the closest thing I do to that is I'll ask somebody for a smoke, and they're like, and they'll freeze up in that same sense of like they don't know how to interact with a human being, which
right,
I partially attribute to the pandemic and
pandemic,
people
sure.
massively suffering from mental illness across the board. But like it's also in the same sense, yeah, like I don't talk to strangers because okay,
All I do is talk to strangers. But it's
yeah,
weird because
you're a weirdo.
I A, don't like people. B, I'm not, I don't consider myself friendly, but I do consider myself overly polite. Does that make any sense?
So people can understand, this bastard right here started me getting to tell people I appreciate you because he constantly fucking says it. And he says it when people are mean to him. And it's just to make them like it's kind of like a sales tactic of when you ask somebody like, "Hey, are you okay today?" Like, and they're like, "Yeah, no, I'm okay," and then they'll be better, right? So in the same sense, when somebody is like gives him attitude, he'll be like, "I appreciate you," and they're like, "This motherfucker showing me appreciation. Now I gotta be all good to him," and I'm like, it's a good tactic, and it's very very simple, but like he also talks with a bit of a he'll I've seen you talk to like people at restaurants and stuff, and every time you add a little extra southern twang on your words because it makes everything sound more polite. And I'm like, you fucking asshole! Like it's constantly, it's
Women like it
complete.
too. Women,
Oh, like
women love
they
the
can
southern
judge
accent.
character. Come on, don't be ridiculous, Victoria. Would deja vu be possible proof of? Yeah, it does definitely. Deja vu is one of those things. That's why I started with deja vu. Come on, that's it.
Deja vu. I don't think anything we've spoken of so far. I don't think any of it's necessarily proof or evidence, but
It's
all
just
of it
odd,
together
right?
brings up a lot of questions. You know,
So I remember a few during the pandemic even I saw this was like random swarms of bugs, but like 3 stories in the air. And just like you can see like it's a dark spot because it's all bugs and you could tell what's happening, right? And you're kind of like number one, so a little information for everybody is bugs don't normally cross the 3rd floor. So if you are a bachelor, live above the 3rd floor. Just a little hint. Because you know what? Your pace is gross. So you don't have to worry about bugs.
God damn, I live on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I thought it
It's
was
that
above.
It's, no, well, yeah, like 30 feet in the sky. Like when you're looking at mid-level of mature trees, you're good. That bugs don't go past that. They're like, yeah,
above
no,
most of the trees, I think, or
Yeah.
I'm like right
Yeah.
at the tree line.
Yeah,
Most of them.
I've seen stuff happening before it does. So this is a
I
thing
think
where
that's
like
pattern recognition, right? Because I do that too.
also because like I know I'm a weirdo where I like to look at things and go, okay, these are the possible outcomes for that situation, right?
It's called overthinking anxiety.
100%, right? It's one of those things where I when it does play out that way, all it does is reinforce, like, because I'm working on probabilities, right? So like a while ago, somebody wanted to visit me, and I was like, huh, what would be the weirdest situation? Because they were coming with a friend, and the friend was somebody I knew, and I was like, you know, it'd be really weird if it was that person, and it was that person, and I was like, you piece of shit, and it was such a what's up, real talk and raw truth 86.
How you doing, Real Truth? Real Truth
Yeah.
comes and watches me and my sister sometimes.
So he's a pervert. Good. It's good to welcome, sir.
What's up,
No,
man?
but like that, like there's a certain amount of pattern recognition and like odd circumstances, like the not seeing your neighbors bring their groceries in. I heard that years ago, and I was like, no, that's maybe I'm just not being observant, because I like as well, because I'm a product of the 80s. I'm like, oh, it must be me who's wrong. It can't be real life. I must be an idiot who's not being observant enough.
I've had the same problem for a long time, and then I started being right a lot, and I was like, y'all can't trick me anymore. Y'all can't make me go against my gut anymore. I refuse.
Is that really your biological sister or a close friend?
We have different dads, but yes, we were raised together, so we were raised with our mother.
It's him with an AI filter talking to himself. It's not even okay. It's just a girl vision. They remove the beard. I just found you guys, so I'm a little lost on the topic. Topic is simulation theory, and are we in a simulation? Because this all came up. We'll explain it again. So as Cole, in noticing people that he was delivering to, he saw a few names consistently.
Oh yeah, that's how I got the subject. I forgot.
They were anomalous. So the first name was a not so unique name, but also the last name started with a K, and it was in a localized area. We're going, that's an obscure combination.
About a 10-mile radius is where I deliver, because I'm a delivery driver. And so I have noticed that when you deliver, they only give you the first initial of everybody's last name, and then the first name and the first letter of the last name. So I've noticed over about 5 years I've been delivering, and then the last 3 years I've been delivering full time. Pretty much that's my only job, is delivering food. Besides this, I have noticed that there's there's a lot of Lisa L's, a lot of David D's. Oh, and another one I thought about yesterday when I got it yesterday, is a Nathaniel B. There's a lot of Nathaniel B's, and Nathaniel spelled all the way out, which is a weird one if you ask me.
Instead of Nathan or Nate or something like.
Yeah. And then the last one, which is Sarah K. Now, Sarah is a very common name. We all know that. Apparently, it's a biblical name. I didn't realize that. But K, there's not a lot of.
That's it's pretty Balkan specific.
In unison with somebody from any type of country that would be named Sarah, in English or a European name, you know what I mean? With the last name K that starts with K. And there's so many of those names with that specific letter. And, a lot of these guys probably are the same person that were hanging out with their friends or whatever, or some of them would drop off at work. But you can't tell me that all of them, all over a 10-mile radius, are the same person. That's not a thing. That's not even. And then you think of 4 or 5 names, however many I named out, and then you have to also figure. I'm willing to bet that there's at least 3, maybe 4, at least.
Yeah.
At least of each one of these individuals that live in a 10-mile radius. Get the fuck out of here.
So I have.
These are spawns.
have a few theories that may or may not work. First of all, okay, I agree 100%. I've been proven to you right. You're not going to trick me. I mean, that's a man who, has been to Bangkok. Yes, 100% we're in a simulation. Okay. Surge 3,000 milligram gummies. Bro, I haven't been smoking weed because I had sinus infection and I was coughing a lot and stuff like that. So I wasn't smoking any weed or doing any drugs, which I know totally loser stuff. But now, so I started because I'm working. Why you gotta make it sound like that? Okay.
Gay.
You're gay. But yeah, so now I'm working. So I've been smoking a little bit. Just cigarettes, though,
cock, and it had the flu virus on it.
Yeah.
And you got the flu right in your mouth.
All right, Serge. You have a good day, buddy.
Later, Serge.
Glad you're feeling better. Okay. What do you mean by simulation? So, fair question. Like, technically, everything is a simulation, right? Like, and let's be honest, is that we had the choice of living with nature and being one with the earth and doing good, and instead we chose to pay taxes and this bullshit, right?
No, I didn't choose that. Get the fuck out of here.
Sure, you know what I mean, though. Like, listen, we have failed as society because we look, America overthrew a government over 2% taxes, and now we pay on average 50% when you factor in sales tax and things like that, right? It's ridiculous. But yeah, so I thought it was the first initial of the first name and then the last name. I believe that's you're looking for your porn name, but yeah, that's fair.
It's the first name and last. Well, no, so Walmart does. What is it? Walmart. There's Spark or whatever. They do the first initial of the first name and then they use the last name. But all the other apps, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they give you the first name and first name of the last name.
So there are a lot of people with the same last name that are not related. That's because before the internet, there were men setting up franchises across the nation. Just every state that have a family, right? You used to be able to afford that on minimum wage people. That used to be a real thing.
Sure, they have the same last name or whatever. I mean, most last names were like actually derived from, especially English culture, were derived from like your job. Like whatever your job was, that's what your last name is. Your fucking Shoemaker. Okay, your last name is Shoemaker. You know what I mean? Like,
this is okay. So this is the thing: is I have two theories. Like, number one, always remembering that we are magical ghosts possessing a 3 pounds of meat that's driving a bone and muscle mech for 100 years, right? That's what we are. We are not, real. It's that going back to that idea. So like the idea,
right?
Yeah, that in and of itself. But
you're not really you. You're your brain inside of this meaty shell.
You're not even your brain though, when you think about it, because your brain is only reacting to chemical like hormone releases. So like you can get addicted to dopamine, you can get addicted to serotonin, you can always be craving that.
Addicted to serotonin. What the fuck?
I don't know. But what I'm saying is like,
if you're not addicted, that's like people, I'm addicted to sex. Yeah, okay, everybody is. Weirdo. Get a job though.
No, but that's the thing, is there were times when people didn't hold it in that high of a regard, right? And the fact is, if you are run by your lust, you will never live your life real. That's because now you're just a prostitute of a different name. That's all it is, right? So the idea behind all that, is you factor in that your brain is not your friend. Because remember, your brain is like, it does things automatically in response instead of us actually having control. Like it's a weird thing that our brain is on autopilot, but we also make decisions, not good ones. And then our brain will fuck with us and be like, hey, instead of going to sleep, why don't we think of every conversation we've ever had that went sour and we thought of better response afterward for the last 10 years. Go. And you're like, I don't know. I wanted to sleep, you fucking asshole. Right. So, right. And it's little things like that where you realize that you're like, oh, your brain and body, not your friends. And remember, the more, like, think about it this way: if you work out, If you work out and your muscles don't hurt at the end, you didn't work out. It's that simple. So it's like your
That's how
body.
the Russians do it. The Russians do it different.
Oh, you mean like with steroids?
No, that's not entirely out of the question. But the Russian bodybuilders, they have a different theory as far as bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Russian athletes and all of them, they don't believe in working out to failure, like to body like muscle failure. They believe in consistency. All right, they work until they're tired and then they're done. They're done for the day. And then they do that consistently until it's not tiring anymore, and then they up it.
Yeah. So there are two schools of thought on that. Is the idea that going to failure is what your body needs for growth. But like, so I've been experimenting with a thing where it's like, instead of lifting weights, it's about holding it and stressing out that muscle to an extended degree. And because I'm not really comfortable with the idea of going till failure, so I'm trying to understand that process better, where I'm like, I can't hold it anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you just holding something, you don't develop stamina, which is like this motion. It drags oxygen out here, okay? So that you're building, and not only are you building strength, this just builds strength, but this is cardio and endurance and whatnot. You know, you're building a lot more than just muscle. You're building a lot more, because then you're opening up your lungs. Your lungs have to do more. Your whole body is moving just by doing this.
You would be surprised how much you do use. Anyways, that's not the conversation we're having. First of all, do you guys welcome guests? We do, but we would set it up.
Yeah, it was
in advance.
Pre-scheduled.
But yeah, message us on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and we'll
Twitter, wherever.
We can go back and forth about a topic, and yeah, we'll definitely have you on.
You can find us under these names out here in the blue, by the way. Anywhere.
Sniffing Glue right here. Sniffing Glue 22, and then Dino, the genetic marvel. I'm Vanna White. Actually, the human race is broken up between the physical, mental, and emotional aspects of reality. So, but this is the thing: is we're not, right, and that's the whole problem, is that we're being categorized in that fashion. When it being categorized separately is debilitating to human function, because those things are ultimately tied together. Addiction is a cop-out to not take accountability or supposed to. Oh, that.
I kind of agree.
Listen, how dare you say something so accurate and so brave, you son of a bitch. I will cut you, okay? Your brain, your heart, and your soul are not your friend. No, well, so I think you can't get away from your soul. Your soul, I feel like the soul is your most not distinct, but accurate depiction of who you are, right? Whereas, yeah, your heart, asshole, complete fuckhead, right? Brain,
I got Jewish ancestry and red hair in my beard. Like, I don't think I have one of those.
I lost mine in my first marriage, in the divorce. Just had to give it up.
She took it with her, huh?
Absolutely.
What's she gonna do with it?
Shit on it, sir. She's going to shit on it multiple times a day. That's a really good minute.
She sold that shit to the devil, and it made it seem like it was hers. That's what she did.
Autopilot is
right here.
Yeah, so like I feel like there's a lot of autopilot that we experience on a daily basis, and I feel like that's our enemy too, because the idea of not being able to get out of autopilot is a mental health issue.
Talk about autopiloting when you're a fucking road runner, as I'm now calling it. There are moments where I'll just like, where the fuck am I? Like, going up, just looking. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm supposed to turn way the fuck back there. What happened?
So I talked about with Victoria about like how if you consistently drive a certain route.
Oh yeah, that's another one that gets you.
And you're just like, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna back up. Like, how the fuck?
If I end up on a road that leads me home, when
you just end up home.
Yep. I end up driving home. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not even supposed to be over here. Like,
yeah, Victoria, 21 grams. Yeah, 21. It's supposed to be 21 grams is the weight of your soul.
Which that's got to be a part of the autopilot. That's got to be a part of the simulation where you just turn off.
Well, so this was the whole thing, is like the idea that matter does not disappear. It just changes forms. Like it always nothing is no longer in existence. So in the same sense, like your body will decompose and go into the ground, and the ground takes it in nutrients and blah 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 blah. But in the same sense, like no one knows what happens to the proverbial soul. But I'm not sure if they're real experiments, but I know there's a lot of fiction stuff that give the example of where they've weighted someone with a super specific scale, like as a scientific experiment when they die, and their body does lighten by 21 grams. Now,
I've heard that actually.
It's like I don't
Breaking
know.
Bad, actually, that's where I heard it from. I wasn't sure if that's a fictional show, so.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is, it's kind of
like a lot.
Like
a lot. That's almost an ounce of weed.
I mean,
very close to an ounce of weed.
Discipline, not outcome.
2/8 light of an ounce.
Yeah, pushing your muscles to limit and not working them to the limit. I mean, I'm not occupation like a physical therapist or kinesiology. I have friends that are, but I'm like, I want to see what happens. I like the experimenting with what I'm working out because I'm doing like more balance stuff and flexibility stuff and trying to do calisthenics. It's a weird thing. But
yes, you just let me say 2/8 and didn't say nothing about it.
What?
Did you really let me say 2/8 and didn't say shit about it?
I'm not gonna rock you. Come on. It's been a long time since I was a drug dealer. Do you want to lift
it's
more?
A quarter.
So that's the thing is real talk is for me, it's the thing is like I used to be 500 pounds. So if I said move, it moved. That's just how it is. That's with cars, that's with people, that's not it was never a thing. So now at a very slim sundress worthy 270 pounds, I'm trying to make sure that I can be strong, but I'm trying to not build too much mass because I'm like bodybuilding and weightlifting are not the same thing, right? Bodybuilding is about sculpting and performance. And I'm like, no. I just want to be strong and I'm trying to be lean, which, I'm failing at, but I'll fail at it until I'm successful at it. So I'll hit up Sniffing Glue. Awesome. Yeah, no. And you know what? Because we like having these kind of existential discussions because essentially it makes us feel normal for the rest of the week. Because we can,
I wanted to talk about something that Real Talk said a second ago. Where did it go?
Ooh. Okay, Real Talk. How dare you? You were born original, don't die a copy. I mean, that's accurate, right? I like that. Your soul is the most important. So that's the thing, is like a lot of people are like, oh, it's just business and stuff. I'm like, no, man, that corrupts your soul. Like when you do bad things to people, whether they deserve it or not, I feel that it greatly affects. Like it's a permanent
theory on this. I have a theory on this. Okay, so have you ever noticed that there are like bad people in the world, and it seems like they never get theirs, and then there are good people in the world, and they
never get a break.
They never catch a break.
Yeah,
I think that people who do good and continually do good and don't fuck up get good karma. Okay, or let me break this down. Okay, so there are bad people. If you continue to do bad and you don't break the cycle, you will never get your karma. Same thing if you're good. If you continue to do good and continue to do good, you will never get your karma. It's the energy you're building in the universe, and it comes back at you like a slingshot as soon as you let go of the release. So if you're good and you continue to be good, you have to do something bad, like i.e. sell drugs one time, and then suddenly all this good shit happens to you. And then it's the same thing when you're bad. If you continue to be bad, and you never do good, that fucking energy is just building. But the minute you're fucking you start doing good as a bad person, it punches you right in the fucking face. There's this weird
I don't disagree with that.
Which might be something. Yeah. There might be something to do with the simulation theory again.
So and that's the thing is, hilariously, so everyone realizes we are talking about doing other shows and we're exploring different topics and stuff like that. But hilariously, one of the big things in economics, especially right now, is the idea where you're like, well, you can't let it touch the economy. The economy is a fully functioning entity, right? It has ups and downs. And now, many years ago, what was created using interest rates was the idea of a soft landing. So if just take a graph, is that you have the economy goes ups and downs. Okay, it's ruthless. People fucking lose everything. People gain the world. It's a horrible fucking thing. But using interest rates, money supply, inflation, all those kind of things, what you do is instead of creating those jagged ups and downs, you create a softer wave. Now that softer wave, everyone's like, it's the best. My opinion is you're just building pressure, because by controlling something that is inherently uncontrollable, all you're doing is building that pressure, building that pressure, building that pressure. So right now, where you have,
you're trying to hold on.
well, now, and this is the thing, is in the 80s, at the end of the 80s, we had interest rates of way up around 21 and a half, I think 22% was where it maxed out at. Okay. And that in and of itself was what created a situation that was horrendous. Right. And the fact is that you can't not allow the market to do what the market's going to do. That's why the idea of a free market is not what we experience currently in North America. We enjoy the benefits of a manipulated market that is we're being told that that's how it's supposed to work. It's not. It is a fucking rocket ship getting shot off in a pinball machine, and there are holes all over it. It's just it's not the same, right? So
where'd the ball go?
Yeah, I'm from Washington. Where are you guys? I'm in Toronto. He's in Ohio.
Cleveland. I'm in Cleveland.
Yeah. Anyways, free will is a nice word to say. Autopilot. Free will. I don't think so, though. I feel like autopilot is kind of a backwards thing, right? Because the idea is that free will is your an absence of choice, and you're just working out of it's kind of like when people are pieces of shit when they're drunk, and they're like, oh, sorry, I was drunk. You're like, no, that was your real. You just no longer had restraint, right? So it's like when you pull out the idea of free will, then your body will function on autopilot. I follow my gypsy feet. I bet all 8 toes on each foot work. That's fine. No. I remember that study when somebody's body was weighed. Yeah, so like, but I don't remember if it was real or not. Like, I feel like it was.
They talked about it in Breaking Bad.
They've talked about it in a lot of stuff. There's entire movies. There's a movie called 21 Grams, I believe, or a show, and they talk about it, and it's a whole thing. The mind is a muscle. If you don't work it out, it get weak. That's 100% sure. And wildly enough, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where they were talking about the idea, the joke of a wrinkled brain. You're like, a wrinkled brain is a used brain. If you don't use your brain, it's very, very smooth and not effective. Yeah. Which you're like, it's hilarious when you think about that. But I'm 6'3" and almost 300 pounds. We're comparably the same size. The difference was I used to be 500, and now I'm all dainty like a lady.
I'm 6 foot, and I was once 300 pounds. I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah. Like 38 years old. Holy shit, you're ready to die. No, I'm older than you by quite a bit. I agree 100%. I mean, we're talking good stuff here. I'm not trying to look like I'm Hercules, but I like to feel like I'm 100%. Like the other day somebody poked me, and just a PSA to everybody. If you see someone, never poke them. Never poke them in the belly, because I'll tell you right now, I'll rip your hand off.
They fucking doughboyed you?
He tried, and then I draped him up and just I grabbed my throat, lifted him up, and I was like, "Don't touch anyone."
That was the incident. Interesting.
Yeah, and you know what? That night, multiple people had touched me, and I was like one guy tried to
no more.
He tried to shoulder check me, and I'm like, okay. And an old lady touched my mask, and she was like, boop. And I was like, I want to punch you in the face, but she's an old lady, so I can't do that. This was a young guy, and he poked me in the belly, and I was like, absolutely the fuck not. That's not going to happen. Those are NPCs that are
run away.
Like, okay, this is the thing, right? And we were talking about this, I think, last week, was the idea that if you think your average intelligence, you have to consider now that means half of people aren't even remotely as smart as you, right? And you're kind of going, hold on, that's a little bit insane, right? Like, so it's, I feel like there are a lot of people, and especially this is a thing that happens in the States, and I'm sure it happens other places. I don't understand it, because I've traveled to lots of places in the world, but like, there are people, especially in the States, where they will never leave like a 10-mile radius. Like they will be born,
Oh, especially
live,
down south. I got a
retire,
lot of
and die.
friends that have never seen. But I shouldn't say friends, but like people I was once friends with when I was
Yeah.
younger. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they're not that we have beef or anything. It's just I was a teenager. I mostly just knew him because we went to school together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You think that's your friend, but it's just some guy you go to school with.
Yeah. It's
Well,
someone you
anyway, I have
know.
a bunch of fucking
Yeah.
old schoolmates that have
Yeah.
never left the town that we went to school in. You know, so
A lot of it was homeschooling people. So like it's really
I
just
went to high school, you dick.
no, but that's why I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of people that don't experience life the same way. And listen, doing online shows and stuff has also been a huge experience because you start to see people from different areas and
Dude,
you,
I'm like known like worldwide in a
yeah,
weird,
man.
like tiny, not like I'm famous, but there's people all over the world who know who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a cool
I
thing.
know who they are, obviously, but like
Yeah,
business,
yeah, yeah.
it's crazy.
So Victoria says it was actually an experiment in 1907. In 1907, science could still be trusted. So interesting.
Right? Isn't that when they like opened up the tombs in Egypt and they're like, it's cursed, and it turned out it was just old fungus killing them all?
No, well, so the funny thing about that was that like a bunch of people died, but like one guy, the main guy who died shortly afterward, he had also gotten a cut from a rusty razor when he was shaving. And like this was before penicillin, and like he died. And you're kind of going like, did he die from the tomb or not? Like you're like possible, unprovable, right? It's just one of those.
So he
Weird things.
got what's that one disease? Um, they give you a shot every time you get cut by something rusty.
Tetanus.
Tetanus. So he
Yeah.
died of tetanus.
No, he died of an infection. It was an infection from the cut, which I'm like,
Okay.
it also could have been from mold that was in the thing. Like, remember, there was a time in history where the reason, like the explanation why we don't have more sarcophagi and mummies in museums is because the rich people would eat them. That's not a joke. That's a real thing. So you're like, history is insane. Sorry, real talk. I apologize. I'm not getting to your comments as quick as I'd like. When you go out of bounds and you get slingshot by the opposite energy that you give, that like, but that is very true. What you said, Cole, like that back and front or back and forth between good and bad. Like if you are always good, like when you do bad, the universe is like, don't worry, we got you, and you cover up. But
Right.
when you're always bad and you're like, I'm gonna do a good deed today, good luck. You're gonna get
you're
eaten
fucking
to
up the
death.
balance of things, man. Go back to being bad. Like,
So, okay, here's a question then, and this is for all of our viewers, and please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it greatly. Do you think that some people are just destined to not be good people inherently for our history, or do you think it is an active decision? Because granted, like people will suffer from abuse and trauma and things, and that will jade their experience and da 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 da
I
da.
don't think anybody's destined to do anything, but I think that there's good people and there's bad people, and both do a lot of good and bad for society. I think good people do good things, and that can be hurtful to society just as much as being bad can be good for society. Because, like, if you think about,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of good people doing good things, like your mom hugging you and telling you it's all going to be okay. That's not good for your growth. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things. But
Yeah.
then there's a lot of bad that you could do, like I don't even know, like really, like
Police officer.
yeah. I mean I don't know that necessarily. That's a
Well,
good thing that can also be done bad. But I'm thinking of a bad thing that could be actually good for society, like
hey,
like
writing
oh,
people
like
tickets, parking tickets, all those things. You're like, hey, you're a piece of shit, but it is good for society. Why? Because without rules, all hell breaks loose.
I don't think that quite covers it. I'm thinking more along the lines of like theft. Theft is a good thing because that creates jobs. You know what I mean? It does. It creates
No, more so drug dealing is
drug
more.
dealing also creates jobs.
Thievery, no, but drug dealing 100% does create jobs. And what was it? I think it was in Ozark, which I tried to get into. I had a really hard time, so I stopped watching
Money
it. But I do
laundering.
wanna
That's
kinda get
another one. Money laundering. It
oh,
actually creates
well,
businesses. There's
the one
probably lots of fucking Fortune 500 companies to this day that were probably started as a front for a criminal. You know what I
hey,
mean?
there
Probably. And then I created a shitload of jobs.
listen, right now, TD Bank, just got fined $3 billion, for their part in a money laundering scheme, and you're going, "Hey, number 1, no one went to jail, and it's just a fine." Trust me, they made over 3 billion out of it. That was a negotiation. Be like, okay, how much do we
Right.
have to every
It's
bad
shitty. To
look,
me, if you're money laundering to hide out a crime, I can look past that a little bit, depending on the crime. But like, if you're money laundering just because you don't want to pay taxes, you're a dick. If you ask me,
yeah, yeah,
you're a fucking dick. While all of us middle class people, the people who were actually raised
yeah,
middle class, I
yeah.
grew up in a middle class family. Let me tell you that.
So,
We pay
yeah,
our fucking tax.
yeah.
You know what I noticed? The middle class are the only people paying taxes. The
Yeah.
rich and the poor don't pay taxes for the most
And
part.
and hilariously, you have the poor who are getting tax handouts. You have the rich
That's
who
what
are
I'm saying. They
definitely not
don't
paying
pay their fair
taxes.
share because the rich don't pay taxes and the poor get their taxes back in some way or another.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
and then you have the middle class who's constantly under attack and is no longer profitable. You're still going, okay, well then where the money's coming from?
Right.
Because there's nowhere, right? So
Mhm.
I'm cool with how the reality has become, but I don't trust the people that are around you. That's 100% accurate. Politicians and diapers should be changed often for the exact same reason. They're both full of shit. All right, that's just science.
That's a good one.
Yeah, people get confused between the ripple and the wave. Yes, I don't disagree with that, but it's more so a ripple can become a wave, but a wave seldom becomes a ripple. Does that make sense? Real talk. Like it's that idea where there's some things are backwards compatible, but not all things are, right? It's like the
Right.
same idea where you make propane from gas, but you like gasoline, but you can't turn propane into gasoline. It's a derivative, it's a byproduct
It's like
of
trying to make fucking like it's like trying to make Kool-Aid out of water, but then you're like, well, actually, I just want water. Well, you can't go back, bitch.
yeah.
You can't go
Just
back.
yeah. Because we are the ones that created the economy. Why are we the economy? I'm assuming that's bitches. Yeah. Oh, like that's the thing is the only people who are bitches to the economy are the people who have the most to lose, and they're getting handouts left, right, and center to unrealistically inflate the entire
Okay,
system.
well, you want to get into it. It was fucking Reagan who fell for the bullshit.
Yeah.
Reagan,
Wow.
all the rich people are like, well, look, if you give us less taxes, we'll have more money to make more jobs. And then Reagan was like, good idea, trickle down economics. That's what we'll call it. And then it turned out to be a fucking lie. Like
Not.
everybody, all the middle class was telling him. Middle
Hey,
class was telling him it's a
yeah.
lie.
The worst part is like, oh, bro, there's a whole issue with that. According to Wiki, his experiment has not been repeated again. I find that more disturbing. So you don't believe that liquor is the true serum? I mean,
No,
it depends on where you liquor. So,
no, because
I believe.
I'm a bigger bullshitter when I'm drinking than when
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
sober.
It's so, but the thing is, like, I feel like the bullshit you'll say when you're drunk is stuff that you've always just been hesitant to say because you are afraid of how it'll be taken. Whereas when you're drunk, you're just going, I don't really care. I just want to get it off my chest. Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, and for me specifically, also it's like I have a little bit of too much. Like I feel invincible,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
not just because like I'm drunk and I don't like feel much, but like emotionally I feel invincible. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? So like
100%. So okay, I mean, I'm not trying to sound egotistical. That's a lie. And stroke my ego, also a lie. But yes, I do believe that I'm more intelligent than 90% of the people on this planet. Now, this is the thing: is
Jesus,
that
you started one way.
yeah, no, it's fine. So like, but this is the thing: is like now the
You're
whole
a bigger
thing about.
bullshitter than I am.
I mean, yes, that's a lot. But like I know what you mean, because I too, like, I stand there going, I can't be the smart one in the world. That's crazy to me. Like, if I'm intelligent and like I'm the top tier, I'm like, oh, we're destined for failure. This is not gonna work. But so I'm like, I must not be exposed to enough people that are much smarter than me, or we're in a simulation. One of the two, right? Like that. Like,
I treat everybody like they're smarter than me. That's the thing.
yeah, but you
Even
do
when I
that.
know they're not.
You do that though. You're shenanigans. Okay, you do that just to. It's a form of manipulation, right? It's the same idea why people critique me and I go, okay, and they're like, why aren't you mad? I'm like, why would I be mad? What's the point of me being mad, right?
Right.
Acquaintances. So, real talk. I have three levels. I'm like, there are people I know who are like, I may have gone to school with them, or they worked for the same company as me, stuff like weird stuff like that. Acquaintances, which are people like I actively associate with on occasion because of, say, religious reasons, or friends of family and stuff like that. I don't really care. I'm like, but I know more than I need to know about them. And then there are friends, which are people I actually give a shit about, which, like my wife, like this asshole, things like that. 1907, science could be trusted 50-50. I mean,
I don't know. There's
that's
still blood
okay.
writing.
A
Still, I think.
50-50 is way better than we can trust it now, right? Like, so like right
50,
now we're
the
looking
Earth might be flat. 50, it's probably not.
yeah. Well, so one guy brought up the idea where it's like there's two conspiracy theories intertwined that I prefer over the flat earth. The flat earth is ridiculous because we definitely have a curvature. There's no question there. But what he showed was like that the earth is like surrounded by ice wall on a much bigger planet that's also filled with other places. And you're like, that's also ludicrous, but I get it.
You want to hear something wild? One time, I was watching two people argue about whether the Earth was flat or not. And so
Ooh.
the flat earther, I was just there. It was at a party, okay? The flat earther was like
In real life, not on TV. This was in real life.
This was happening. I was high as shit, drinking. There's
That
drugs and alcohol. There was a beer pong game going on in the background. I'm sitting there. I had just lost beer pong. I'm kind of irritated. So I'm just watching these two argue, right? And all I hear is, why do you think the earth isn't flat? And so the guy was like, so the way science is developed, you already know it's gonna be like a crazy argument.
Yeah,
he said we've been designing rocket ships to leave Earth.
Yeah.
Based off of the math that our Earth is spherical.
Yeah.
Like, think about blasting off of a plate. It would launch differently. We've been launching off of a ball, right? He's making a great argument, right?
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you. The next thing that flat earther said sent me, and it was hard to argue. Okay, you know what he said? We've never been to the moon.
Listen.
Oh my god! I was like, oh my fucking god, he got him.
That's like, yeah, got him. Just immediately, like that's a solid. Okay, so this is
and a fucking moon denier in the same fucking argument.
So, like, this is the other thing is like,
oh my god.
Then you hear scientists are like, oh, well, we don't have access to technology anymore to go to the moon.
What?
Why? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why would you say
we don't even have the original records of Neil Armstrong on the moon anymore. It accidentally got deleted.
Oh yeah.
Somebody taped over it. Like it was a VHS.
Oops. Listen, that's the whole thing. So yes, the 1900s, they were a lot more willing to push the envelope. Yes, because there were people during World War II that did live vivisections and random amputations and attachments of just to see what would happen. So yes, but also not a good thing, right?
Oh, you were saying about the rich people eating mummies. That fits into. I'm going to talk about that on Saturday with my sister. So we're talking about the lizard people.
Yeah.
What? Tell me why. I didn't know that about rich people eating mummies, but why does that kind of fit in with the lizard people?
Oh, because the whole idea is that lizard people eat people. Like they're kind of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
There's a whole
And all the
listen.
fucking rich people are lizard people.
Yeah. That's which like so there was a show in the 80s, maybe the early 90s, called V. And V was about these aliens who came and they were stranded on Earth, so they slowly got incorporated into society. But there were like two versions, and one version like had like a skin suit, and they were lizards underneath. Like it was fucked up. It did not last long. It was very wild, but like it very quickly disappeared, and you're kind of going, that's odd. That's even more. It's more odd that you would make it disappear than it is that someone come up with it randomly, right? So, when mold was taken in by a cut or inhaling, or when people would put traps in mummy containers and it would puff out smoke. Yeah, like that's very possible, but also too like spores are weird in that way. Like it's the same thing. Like anthrax can actually be created in nature and be in dirt, and it will stay there until it's disturbed. And when it is disturbed, you inhale
Spores
it and
can
it'll kill you.
survive in space.
So can octopi, octopuses. I forget what
They
I
don't need
think
oxygen?
no. It's not necessarily the oxygen part. It's the functionality. So they were saying that spiders had trouble with it, rats have trouble with it, but octopuses, no problem. They
Like
love.
you could just drop them into space, no spaceship.
No. They
Not
were
just
taking. They were
spores.
in a. They
You
were.
can drop
Oh,
spores into space with nothing, no oxygen.
yeah.
The temperature doesn't fuck them up. Spores can just
Well, they
live in
run.
space.
Theoretically, the idea is that they will become dormant in those temperatures, but they like spores notoriously can become reactivated. That's why people are so aggressive when it comes to like the fact that part of the ice caps is melting and stuff like that, which you're like, weirdly, it's odd that everyone complains about flooding in deltas, but you're like, yeah, delta is gonna flood, it shouldn't exist, you're stupid for building on it. But then you're like, you look at other places like in Massachusetts, in Toronto, and you're going, yeah, the water line is the same. It's not, hasn't changed with all this icebergs melting and shit. So,
Right.
but when they do melt, you know, things that have been frozen for quite some time are now coming out, right? I truly believe that GOG, a secret organization, is running the country that nobody's talking about.
Way to hit us with some shit last minute.
Well, yeah. So the idea that there is a shadow government or deep state and stuff like that.
Illuminati.
So, but I love how people who are experts are like, do you understand how hard it is to keep a secret? And you're going, so, and I have a theory on this, is specifically that we no longer have leaders. We just have bureaucrats and managers who are completely unskilled, and they don't know how to create influence and loyalty and obedience. So the difference between being a leader and a manager is people will die for you. They will take things to the grave because, and that's why like the idea of organized crime where people would take things to the grave was because that was a mark of honor.
Right.
And people now think it's honorable to have you know, 1,000 partners in a year.
Well, our whole society is feminized now, and that's what women do is gossip, you know, and that's what men do now. We're gossiping right now. What did men do? What did today's version of men do? We started podcasts. That's just a gossiping. That's a vlog. You know what I mean? Like it's so feminized that we don't even realize we're doing it. As much as we try to, you know, more than anything, it's probably like well, there's like a word for it, like compensation. But you and I try to pretend like we're not like all the other men, you know what I mean? Like today's men at least. But here we are, fucking gossiping on the internet, you know. So.
Absolutely. It is more carefree that we can. It is your truer self, but I don't think it's your true self when you drink for that. You do that to video 100% agree on the three groups. Thank you. I appreciate that validation. Until I see for myself, I don't know what shape the earth is. So, so this is the thing is,
I mean, if it's a simulation,
it's going to be what it's going to be.
The world is a simulation. It's whatever today is, whatever they want it to be shaped like today.
Yeah. You do know, Stephen Glue 22, that the flat Earth and the reptilians go hand in hand. Underground people
Oh, yeah?
underground
yeah?
people and lizard people go together. Flat Earth. See, this is the thing: is I
If you
don't
live
believe.
underground, there's no ground if it's flat. There's not
This is
much ground, at least.
so but this is the thing: is a lot of the mathematical assumptions that are used in calculus, physics, and algebra, geometry, and space and all that kind of stuff is based on the fact that the Earth is spherical,
I just said
traveling
that.
through space.
I
So
just said that.
yeah, I know. So that idea is
I'm gonna
complex.
start telling everybody it's a cube. Just to fuck with both sides. No, it's not. It's flat. No, it's not. It's a cube.
I would rather throw out that it's a Dyson sphere. Is what it is. We're a planet inside of a
It's the Roombus.
mechanical create. No, it's so a Dyson sphere. Fucking asshole. Okay, so a Dyson sphere is meant to be essentially a planet encased inside of a planet, so that like it's an artificial containment.
Horton Hears a Who.
Kind of, yeah.
Like the little marbles on in Men in Black.
More so, yes, except localized to one planet. It's insane, but also too, you know, like you can't prove it. Like, remember, there's a whole conversation about like, how could we lose technology to go to the moon in such a period of time? When let's be honest, we have more recorded information over the last 100 years than ever before. So how could we just oops and not have it? Right? It's weird. I do believe that that the people that are really controlling everything are centuries ahead of technology. Oh, well, there is like the idea of people gatekeeping technology, I believe, is factual, because even when you see drones in movies and stuff, those are drones from like 2002, 2003. And it's like, yeah, that was 20 years ago. We are way ahead of everything like that. And I do not believe we have been to the moon, or we're not told the whole story about.
Me and my sister talked about this. We don't believe in it either. We talked about that last weekend.
There are too many questions and too little information. My ex-father-in-law went to the Smithsonian in Washington, which I think you and I would have a good trip if we went.
I would love to go to the Smithsonian. I've been wanting to go there since Night of the Museum came out.
Oh, 100%. I think we could, that would be a cool trip. Because I could take a bus from here to Washington, D.C. And I'll just meet you there. But the whole thing was that, like, if you see the pod that they went back in, like that they landed on the moon with, you look at it and you're going, nah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It never, even when I was a kid, I was just like, it don't.
You're like, what the fuck are you talking
It
about?
doesn't look like all the other rocket ships.
Yeah,
like,
it's not the oxygen that we have a problem in space. It's the temperature, pressure, atmosphere, and radiation, right? Like there's multiple issues.
That's
impossible
to cross, apparently.
It's not the Kuiper belt. I forget what it's called, but yeah, there's a radiation protecting. Like there's nothing since the moon landing where any person has passed that radiation barrier that surrounds the Earth.
That's probably part of the simulation too, keeping us where what the fuck we're supposed to be.
I mean, out in space is like ice age, pretty much. Worse, right? Like theoretically, the dark side of the planet is out in space is will instantly freeze you, right? That's why they have I forget what the term was, but like if you took two pieces of steel and put them together, they are cold welded and will become one in that temperature. Like it's a weird thing where you can't like detach them. Like it's done. Let's see, especially in this day and age of the IQ of people, it's not hard. I don't need loyalty if our interests are the same and our mindset align. Oh no, this organization has no honor. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like it's the same idea where people who want power should never be given authority, because they are like they're already ruined by their greed. So the people who don't want power are the ones who should be forced to lead, because they will act in the best interest, because they're like, hey, so there's me who would be like, I got to make sure I do the right job because it's so important. And then you have this guy who's like, I'm going to do a shit job so I never get it again. I don't want to fucking do it. Right.
Yeah. It depends on the job. If I like it.
I mean, yeah. That's the part of the plan to make the world feminine. I mean, That's hilarious. No men used to bullshit women used to go. Yeah, that's true. Now we're all changing. Well, that's the funny thing is you have older women who are predatory on younger men. If an older man tries to go with a younger woman, he will be immediately taken apart, it seems. We are not gossiping like bitches. The only thing different between now and then is we are not playing poker. I mean, maybe you're not, but
I've always wanted to start a podcast around a poker table.
I mean, don't get me started.
I don't think we could do it.
Underground people ties in with flat earthers there for flips around to reptilians. I mean, there's a lot. Like I see flat earth. So this is the problem is that the math don't math for a flat earth now, but the math that we're part of a bigger scheme of things does math. And that's why I'm like, the idea that the world isn't what we think it is, I feel like is 100% accurate. What I don't believe is that the earth is flat because that's stupid. You know what I mean? Because so there was a story about somebody who overcame somebody's opinion that the earth was flat because they're like, there's an ice wall. You're like, do you think that in this day and age, the ice wall wouldn't have been monetized as a tourist trap at this point, right? And it was like, that's a fair point.
Oh, like at the end of the end of the earth or whatever. Yeah,
the end of the earth would have been a tourist trap. Well, decades ago.
You still probably could do it, though. You could probably still do it. To be honest with you, the fact that there are plenty of people who think the earth is flat and they haven't monetized it as a tourist trap, kind of tells you that maybe it wouldn't have been used as a tourist trap.
There's like, it's a fair question. Yeah, this is freaked me out. Was NASA was originally created to go into the water?
The water, yeah. They're like, we got to get the fuck off this planet, right? They're like, go, get the fuck out of here.
So I'm not sure if you guys are fans of this. I know I am. I don't know if you are cool, but there's a whole channel called about SCP.
Yeah, my brother talks about it a lot. I've never seen it, but I know what it is.
The cool thing is that it very much leans into the idea that there are things out there. Like, I'm a firm believer that there are things out there that we do not know and can't comprehend. Like, we cannot physically, we do not
like the stairs in the woods or whatever.
Shit, like there's all sorts of stuff. And also too, like the idea of all sorts of like weird happenings. And you're like, listen, you can only perceive, like your brain will fill in the gaps, right?
Right.
So the idea of somebody having a weird face, like Loch Ness Monster, like tons of stuff like that. And so the idea about that is very perplexing. Yeah. So it's one of those things where like what happened that because it was in the 50s, I think, or early 60s, where they're like, yo, we need to get the fuck out of here. And then, all right, we're going to the moon. And then we went to the moon.
Okay. So Dino, to close out the show, what's one thing that sticks out in your head that's happened to you that you witnessed, that you were like, is this a simulation? Like, what was something that didn't necessarily confirm it, but definitely arose your suspicions or like made you more suspicious?
The pandemic.
The pandemic specifically? What about it?
I'll tell you why. Is in the beginning, I'm not sure if you guys had this. We had it up here. Was there like flatten the curve? 2 weeks to flatten the curve. This was a saying where they're like, we're going to shut down for 2 weeks and everything will be fine. So as soon as somebody mentioned it, I was like, that's not how that works. If we have to be shut down in place, in number one, there should be food is now being like, there should be an express process to get food delivered to your house, like by government order. If they're forcing you to stay home, then you need to deliver me food.
Yeah, it's kind of how I started doing DoorDash so much.
So, but also too, 2 weeks is a blink of an eye when it comes to disease.
Quick, dude.
You would need a minimum of 9 months, but most likely over a year.
I'm like, I just paid rent. Why are you already asking me for rent? You know what I mean? That's a month.
So that's why you're going like the idea that some dipshit was like, "Yep, that'll work," and then proceeded to convince everyone.
That nobody's wearing the mask.
Yeah, and then
We're all home. What are we
listen,
wearing mask for? We're all
look,
home.
yeah, and like, oh, the best to this day, I see people driving in their car with a mask on and they're by themselves,
Dude,
and I'm
there's
like,
still people who work with it on.
oh yeah, and so at some degree, I'm like, listen, if you're sick and you wear a mask for my benefit, I applaud you. Thank you for being thoughtful. If you wear a mask because you're like, well, I don't want to get sick, you're like, that's not how that works, idiot. You're making yourself weaker. That's
if you're like legitimately sick. Now, I do think that the mask that was one thing that did come from the pandemic is when somebody's sick, and they most of the time they'll go out with a mask on. Most people now, I think, most normal, not fucking assholes, will wear a mask out in public when they're sick. Even I do it sometimes.
sure.
I don't get sick as much anymore.
Yeah.
I just realized that probably the past year or two.
And that's the thing is the actual best thing, because when you try and isolate a disease such as a cold and make it so nobody is getting it, what happens is it's given the opportunity to mutate and become stronger. Whereas
about other diseases too, because of herd immunity.
Exactly. So the idea is if everyone got it as quick as possible, it may have stopped at one and done and you'd be finished. Every time I think of flat earthers, I think of Chronicles of Narnia. But that's a vote towards.
I don't get it.
It's a very good story. It's okay.
I've heard good things about it.
So it's normal for an older guy to get with the other chick, the younger chick. It is not normal for the older woman to get with the young dude. So that is specifically with regards to procreation and the fact that a young man going with an older woman eliminates the possibility of having more children, whereas the older man, who theoretically is more profitable and prosperous, can keep his lineage that may be better by having a new younger wife and producing more, right? So it really comes down to our entire world is now being told that you shouldn't have kids, don't procreate. And
yeah, but I actually heard recently that they found studies that if you, as a man, procreate after 50, your DNA starts breaking down. It stops being able to translate from you to the baby, and that actually causes things like mental disease and autism and whatnot. Which could also just be a lie for the fact that they're giving us vaccines way too many and too early and giving children autism, but we'll say that for a different day.
Let's just nix that entire statement and we'll just move on. The Greys. See, I feel like if the Greys are real, we would have already killed them. Unless there's a technology barrier, and then that means that they're in charge. And I just don't. I feel like there are other options before we have to go to like quote unquote aliens, right? I laugh my ass off when I see, but yeah, no, it's fucking hilarious, right? And then of course they can't drive. The bubble boy, get over it and eat dirt. I mean, listen, I'm trying to raise a man. Just rub some dirt on that scratch, you'll be fine. If it kills you, you weren't fit for life. That's on you.
So wait, you like what specifically made you think that the world was a simulation because of COVID? Though, is it just the fact that some dumbass was like saying something, and so it was just like a social experiment to see how long we would accept? But it did kind of feel like it came down to the very end of people's wits.
Yes. So the fact that there was such a massive disconnect with what I perceive to be basic knowledge of everything. Like my assumption is I'm average. I'm not. I know I'm not. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I think I'm middle of the pack. So the degree, like, remember there was that lady who cut the hole and she's like, oh, it's a lot easier to breathe. You're like, you are 6-star retarded. Like, there's no that person
that wore like this, like,
oh, I love this person. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Or somebody was like lift their mask to sneeze.
You're just standing going, do you not like it's the whole idea, and this is where my big thing is. So diseases don't die, they go dormant and come. That's why, like, you actually, it's better to everyone to get it once and then it'll be fine. But Al Capone's 100 years old and he has another kid. I mean, he had syphilis, but okay. I think the alien race that is out there in space is a lot more like Superman. Oh, that's worse, right? That's the whole idea of the Fermi paradox, where it's like, if we're alone, that's disturbing. If we're not alone, still disturbing, right? Because the whole idea was that, oh, there are messages we've sent out, and the response is quiet down or they'll hear you. And you're like, that's worse, right? Because you don't know what's happening. Oh, I thought the world is in a simulation at 13, but now I have the worst. I mean, that's fair. It's there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense, especially when you're a kid and you kind of go, that doesn't jive. I don't think that's right. And people are like, nope, that's how it is. And you're going,
Yeah, when I was a kid, dude, like I didn't have like the Constitution to argue with people, but I knew in my heart that there was a lot of things where I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. And for the longest time, I'm like, it just doesn't. It kind of is just like at the back of my head things. So those specific things always, and I'm just like, nope. Up here, I'm like, nope. This is the way it is because this is what I've always been told. And then the world starts breaking down, and I'm like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it when I was 8. I fucking knew it for 22 goddamn years.
Well, and look, that's the whole idea is like, especially my generation it wasn't as thoroughly explained. Maybe just not me because we were never political in any way, shape,
well, you were Jehovah's Witness, so
yeah. So politics was out. Military service was out.
Everything.
I had to, yeah. It was
holidays.
That's the only thing that bothers me about it is that I wasn't exposed to some important parts of politics and stuff like that. Because the fact is that like when you start doing research into politics, you're like, oh, it's a great scam. It's the greatest scam of the 1900s. So I'm an amazing, magically unique, average. I mean, yeah. I personally think we might be Kleborg, the alien in the universe. I mean, that's fair too. Like,
I don't know that. What is that?
It was in
Skyrim shit?
No, it was Robot Chicken. Was
oh, okay.
E.T. had one glowing finger. So when he goes home, everyone else has 10 glowing fingers. So they refer to him as Kleborg the retard who only has one glowing finger. And you're like, it's so rude. And they're like, we sent him to Earth to fucking die, and you guys send him back? Like, fuck that guy, right? So it's Kleborg the retard is definitely
Earth is the America of space.
I mean, it's getting there. The other races are told to stay away so that we can grow in our own speed. See, like that's the other thing is, are we being isolated because of our A, violent tendencies, B, incompetence, C, stupidity?
Dude, right? We're probably being isolated because we evolved from apes. Like that's what they're like, these fucking monkeys on this planet. Like think of Frieza, like these monkeys, like
yeah. It's that like
they're bombing each other. They're throwing nukes. They got super fucking planes that they don't even need to be in anymore, and they're using them to shoot each other. Them to shoot each other. They could be dominating the attack. There's like this there's this little hot force field that they can't even get past, and they're convincing everybody on the planet that they went to the moon, but they can't get past the fucking hot spot. Like
yeah.
So hot.
Listen, well, right now there's the whole thing that the James Webb telescope, right, which is supposed to be the most powerful telescope we've ever created, has currently identified an armada that's heading towards Earth. And you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Wait, the moon?
Yeah. An armada is the
moon, right? The second moon?
No, it's a fleet of ships. One of them is square, which I'm like, that's the Borg, and we're fucked. So
something happened to us?
Yeah. There's the second moon, which also no one is talking about, which is alarming.
That's the goddamn fucking. I seen Star Wars. I know what that is. That's the Death Star, bro.
It's the Death Star. We're all gonna fucking die.
I don't think we're gonna die, but it's definitely gonna,
mix things up.
Take over some shit.
Yeah. The understanding and fear we have about aliens is based off of our theory and belief and guesswork on how aliens. Well, it's the assumption that if aliens are as advanced as are that much more advanced than modern society is to a society that doesn't have modern technology, we know how we treated them. It's called the United States of America, and that's kind of what happened. So when you are outclassed by technology, the question is not if you'll survive, it's how bad they will treat you, because they don't have to treat you better because you have no defense, right? So it's that assumption, right? It's the same idea why women are like, all men are bad. And you're going, no, all men could be bad, but men choose not to be, right? And that's why I'm bigger than you and stronger than you. I don't have to prove anything. Whereas, like we were talking about this at work, was a little guy is always very feisty. I could do to you. Be like, listen, Strawberry Short King, calm down. It's not. Which I am honestly actively looking for an opportunity to drop on somebody because I'm like, I'm going to ruin your night. All right, short guy. I'm going to call him Strawberry Short King.
I have short man energy all the time. That's the funny thing. As a 6-footer, you're like, you just act like a short person. I'm like, I don't know how to deal with it.
I was modern day loose Christianity and then came to wonder and study many religions and came to believe what I believe now. Listen, you also don't believe that we landed on the moon. So careful. Don't trust your own brain. It's not on your side.
All right, so I'm going to give you my story of
yes, I want to hear your
simulation.
Story.
All right, so this will make you believe the simulation for sure. Okay. One day I'm driving around delivering food as you do. Yeah. This is probably a year or two ago now. And there's there's cars ahead of me. We're all crossing the train tracks, right? And I cannot explain to you the sudden fear that when you're like smack dab on the train tracks, and then the fucking thingies just ding, 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 they start coming down, and then I'm like, wait, what's happening? Like that alone has never happened to me in my life. Yeah. Okay. I've never even heard of something like that. I thought for some reason I thought like they had to like make sure that the car was off before they could like start the thingy. But I just never been in that scenario before. And then I look over out of panic, really mostly, and realize the train is fucking right there, Dino. Right there. Go, 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 go. Get out of my way. Like this fucking Hancock. Like, you know what I mean? That movie with Will Smith. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, and I just pull some bullshit, just and then the train's I was like, oh my God, they're trying to kill me. They want me off. Okay. And then for a while, yeah. months, okay. I checked both ways before crossing any train. And the first time I don't, it happens again.
So I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I think you just realized that everyone else, that's why in the driver's handbook it says you should check just in case.
It doesn't say that. I looked after that moment. I went and read the whole book trying to find it. It's not in there. It doesn't. It says that if you have explosives in your vehicle, you have to stop at all railroad crossings and look both ways before crossing. But it does not specifically say you have to. In the American, maybe it says in Canada, but in the American handbook, it does not say it to look both ways.
It does say that you should only cross a railroad crossing when you have when
you have to get to the other side.
When you should go slower, you should reduce your speed by a small percentage.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to blow up your fucking tires.
Right, but also too, you only have to stop if you are holding chemical. So if you're a truck or a bus, you have to stop at a railroad. But hilariously, like I've seen guys who are like, their bells are going, they're like, oh, should I just run it? And you're like, no, idiot, don't do that.
I've thought before. I've been in a hurry, and I was like,
bro,
I can make it. I know I can. I didn't, but I'm like, I could have.
I'll tell you another story that also tells me we're in a simulation. Is a buddy of mine who is clean cut white guy. He's about 6 foot, great shape, played hockey, nice guy, very polite. You look at him and you're like, you should be a politician. You got such a trusting face, like all the time. Now, the one time there was a train going by and he was like, he did a U-turn to go a different way.
I've done that.
The train passed.
I've done that too. You're stuck between two sets of trains. I've done that where one train goes away, so you turn the UE, and then there's another train going the other way. And now you're trapped. Is that what you're about to say? I've done that.
This gets worse. He turned around and was like, "I'll just do a U-turn and fuck off." And on the other side of the tracks was a cop specifically for railroad stuff, and he gave him a ticket. So apparently, you're not allowed to do that. for U-turning at a railroad crossing.
Oh, suck my dick! I would
Hey.
fight that.
Remember, this was like in the 90s.
I've never even heard of that.
Or no, it was the early 2000s, and the ticket was like $400. And he was like, "This motherfucker," and I'm going like, "That's insane." But
Why
like,
can't you do it? That's probably the best time to be able to do it as far as safety goes. There's no oncoming traffic.
trust me, the problems with it are numerous. Okay, let's get through the last few comments before we sign off. Are we though? I thought we genetically were more similar to bananas and pigs. Let's be honest. If we follow that logic as well,
Why do people keep saying that? People keep saying we're more related to lizards. No, we're not. We're very obviously apes.
Hey, but remember,
But
dinosaurs are more related to current chickens than lizards. So
yeah, I know that. Birds and all that.
Yeah,
they're saying the dinosaurs have feathers.
100%. Compared to the other countries, that America is the best, and we're being put out like a sacrifice. That's 100% accurate. That's everyone has finally gotten their panties in such a bunch that they're like, no, America has to suffer like everybody else suffers. You're like, no, they don't. The only reason is because you guys are being stripped for parts right now. Like that's what's actually happening. If men want it their way, there's nothing. It's 100%. Well, look, if the people got smart enough to want it their way, there's nothing the government could do either. Much respect, and my kids are calling later, brothers. See you later, buddy. Have a great night. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, everyone, please like, share, subscribe. Hit us up if you want us to cover a topic. If you want to be a guest, by all means, we have other shows tomorrow. We are going to be talking about we're making spaghetti. Oh,
we're also talking about making spaghetti.
We are going to. Well,
I'm going to be about a 2-hour episode again.
Yeah. Just remember, if you want, you can. We're both monetized, so wherever you are, you can give us a couple bucks and to help make this more profitable. And I will send you this kissy face.
Help me buy fucking legit microphones. I don't sound like shit on these fucking podcasts.
Also, a beneficial thing. If you want us to sound better, make it happen. It's in your power to do it. So feel free.
Have you ever been waiting at a train? You're like, all right, fine. Train goes. And then a train goes the opposite direction now, like from the opposite way. Like it's the same train tracks or whatever. They're because it's doubled up. And you're like, and then just all of a sudden another one starts going. You're like, motherfucker! Like,
bro, I've seen one that was like,
I had 3 or 2. 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what is going? That's a simulation too. That's one of those. Like, I have to be on the other side. If there's a fourth one, I'm getting out of my car, and who knows what's gonna happen.
The worst one I saw was one started, and we looked and we're like, man, that's a long train.
Yeah.
And then another one came and crossed it, and we're like, oh, at least they're happening both at the same time. And then the one crossing on the closer side finished, and the other one, the long one, is only like halfway done. You're like, this motherfucker just still like honestly separating 2 trains, you son of a bitch. Like just not. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's the idea
There's got to be a better system for trains. There's got to be a better system. Like build bridges or something. I don't know.
Make a ramp so I can drive over it. How about that?
Or over it. Yeah.
Yeah. If the train has to stay, yeah. Just that's it. It's called a bridge. We go over it. It's fine. That's the advantage of a car.
You're slowing down. Fucking because if you really think about it, the consumer is now slowed down and he's frustrated. So there's a chance that whatever's on the other side, he's gonna be like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Which slows down the economy. All for your supply to get to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
That now people aren't gonna fucking buy. You know what I mean? If you're able to keep both running in unison, then the economy fucking keeps fucking churning like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I wonder how much people stopping at trains affects like a recession in the grand scheme of things.
Well, you can ask longshoremen because they'll tell you that if you don't play our game, we will shut this motherfucker down. Because I'll tell you right now, is
the
that
oil
idea,
company?
No, longshoremen were the people who are receiving.
Oh, yeah, the port. Yeah, okay.
And the fact was that they were like, listen, we will go on strike, and there is nothing you can do about it. And because if that happens, not even.
Yeah,
it caved. Hey, listen,
they caved at like midnight in the middle of fucking night, dude. And he was like, "Is that good? Is that good? This is their numbers." everybody was like, "Yeah, it's cool."
All right, good.
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, the best part about that was
They're all drinking, hanging out together. That's what it was.
well, listen, that's basically they came up to I think 61.5% when they were asking for 75, but the first offer was okay, we'll do 50. And
Or
no, not good
67.
enough.
So
67, maybe that's fine.
but you
But, like,
always start high so that they come to the number that you want anyway. So
the problem is, like how unions used to be, they had all of the power.
yeah,
And until there's like, look, the idea of doing things by air and making a bridge to be able to cross the Atlantic, all that stuff is specifically intended not to make things more convenient. It is specifically intended to remove
to get rid
power from that
that's
union.
what happened to the elevator operator union.
Yes.
They went on strike, and then during the strike, the the elevator engineers were like, "Hey, look, we can make it like self-sustainable or whatever," and then killed the whole business.
That's the thing is, remember, and what people don't understand is why AI has become so ridiculous for people supporting it is because AI is now producing poetry, essays, research, art, which you're going, no. AI was supposed to do all the dumb shit so we wouldn't have to worry about it. And that means we could start doing art, poetry, things, investing in the arts. That's the problem is it's work.
The art is profitable.
It's not even art isn't profitable, and the idea of art being profitable is money laundering. So don't even get me started on that.
CIA,
Yeah,
that's the thing about AI too is like it's if you were using it right, it would be replacing all the CEOs and the judges and whatnot. You know what I mean? The lawyers, but no, they're going to use it to get rid of labor.
Yeah,
which makes no fucking sense at all.
Yeah, there's no reason why. The problem is AI. It's proven that who you have as a CEO has almost zero effect on the production of the company, like how profitable it is.
Mm-hmm.
And notoriously, AI has actively been more capable and better qualified to do the job of a CEO than any CEO in existence. So it is literally just about psychopaths wanting to hold on to power and not pay workers.
One guy fucking $8 million, and you have a program that can replace him, versus the fucking squad that probably cost you like $1 million. You're gonna get rid of the squad over the guy? That would make no fucking sense.
Yeah, they're that's the thing is the working class is what's making things profitable. It is not a CEO. The CEO is, if anything, standing in the way of people.
He's a paperweight. He's keeping a chair warm for the most part.
Oh, listen, I remember 1 year a bank here in Canada lost 35 million. But the reason that it lost 35 million is because their last thing they did at the end of the year was they fired the CEO and gave him a $40 million handshake to leave. And you're going, listen, he got $40 million. And they're like, well, that was in his contract. And you're going, you're fired. I don't care what your contract is. Just get the fuck out. Right. So the company was negative. So it wasn't profitable for the year by negative $35 million. So you're going, hold on. So if we didn't pay this cocksucker anything, we would have been plus 5 million. And because everyone was saying, oh, you're going to be negative. If we were plus 5 million, that would have meant that the stock would have skyrocketed because they're like, hey, they were supposed to be not profitable and they still made 5 million. Top tier. That's how stocks work. So the idea of a CEO being important is a fallacy in and of itself, right?
Right.
You're important because you have importance.
What does the CEO do is mostly just trying to cut costs, which is most of the time firing people.
Just doing this, just all day.
Jerking off.
Yeah.
I guarantee you somebody's getting paid $40 million a year is not jerking off. He's getting jerked off. Especially with all the free time he has.
That is how we're going to end this show, everybody. So come check us out tomorrow on Hammer and Cheese. It's going to be on both of our channels. We're going to be cooking spaghetti and meatballs. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to have a special guest who's going to be cooking from their home. Are they going to be cooking from their home?
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to have that. So please tune in tomorrow. What time are we going to be doing? Are we going to try 8:30 again?
8:30, yeah.
8:30. So we're going to be here at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time So come check it out and watch us make spaghetti. I'm not going to be making spaghetti, but it'll be great. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Later.
Peace out.